So hello guys, welcome to my CyberTalk series. This is a very special episode. I am going to introduce to a guy who calls himself a wannabe hacker, but we all know he's on a whole new level when it comes to CTF, binary exploitation, and reverse engineering. So when you watch his video, you know you are going to dive deep and spend a decent share of your brain understanding stuff. So as a security researcher, I truly admire his work, and I'm obliged to have him with us today. So first of all, sir, thank you so much for taking your time and joining us on my channel. It's a very honor to host you. So sir, my first question is, what is a day in your life as a hacker?
Um, so I work as a penetration tester and I work from home. So my day is very boring. I wake up, I grab a caffeine drink out of the fridge. Do you know this one? It's called Club Mate.
Okay.
It's like iced tea with caffeine. It's very famous in the German hacking community.
Yeah.
So I take that and then I sit in front of the computer. I work. I take the dog out. I work. I cook lunch. I work. I cook dinner. I work. I take the dog out. I go to bed. So that's basically my day. And when I work, I do like typical work, like similar to bug bounty. I test and use tools and whatever. But I also constantly take breaks, watch YouTube videos, play some games, watch a TV show, stuff like that.
So sir, move ahead to next question is, what is a good CTF as a beginner?
That's a very hard question because so there are these CTFs that only run for a weekend, and there are easy ones and very hard ones, and you always like they are always changing, they are always different. So it's not to say like this one is going to be a good one for beginners. So they will generally be a bit harder, but I would just encourage you just to try. It doesn't matter if you can't solve it. I just encourage you to read the write-ups afterwards. But then there are these websites that just have challenges for you to solve. And I think Pico CTF seems like a really great website. If you are interested in like buffer overflows, then maybe the exploit exercises machines that I've covered in my binary exploitation course is like a good start. Or Over the Wire is a great site for challenges. Yeah.
So the next question is, good sources to learn about binary exploitation.
Well, I would hope that my own videos are a good resource.
I know. Yeah, that I know.
Generally, I would even recommend, so there are it's like a course, and then the later videos in the playlist show some general tips and help if you have issues. So I generally even recommend just to like watch even the later videos in between or so, and then that hopefully is a really good resource. Or do it on your own, like just go Over the Wire or Pico CTF and just learn it by doing it. And when you get stuck, just search for write-ups from other people and try to replicate it and try to understand what they are doing. And maybe some of my videos help you as well. Just be explorative and research and look around.
Okay. So the next question is, what was the most difficult CTF that you have ever done?
So when you play a hard CTF, you don't even have time to look at all the challenges. So you typically only look at 1 or 2 challenges because it takes you 10, 20 hours or so to look at one challenge. So I don't even know what a hard CTF is because I only see like 1 or 2 challenges. But if you look on CTF time and you see the weight number, it's a score. If it's the higher it is, the more hard is probably the CTF. And I've played plenty of those. So it's like the real world CTF, DEFCON CTF, CCC CTF, things like this. Like just the normal CTFs are all very hard, and yeah.
So the next question is, advice for embedded pen testing.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Any advice for who wants to learn about embedded pen testings?
When you say embedded pen testing, do you mean like embedded hardware? Yeah. I would search for terms like on Google, just like IoT hacking, router hacking, and looking for articles and blog posts, people that take some IoT device and take it apart and look for like a serial console and look up the chips and maybe dump the firmware or something, things like this. And then you could try to find if you can buy the same IoT device and try to do the same thing, basically follow with the blog. And generally look around at home. Do you have any small electronics or IoT devices? Take them apart, look inside, and if you see like numbers printed on a chip or some other labels, just type them into Google, look them up and read what they are doing, what it is about. And, you know, maybe you can find other people who have written a blog post about this device or so. I think this is a very good way to
Okay,
start.
sir. So the next question is, do you use HackTheBox? When would you recommend it?
No, I have never done a single hack the box. Also, I don't really believe in like this step by step where you need to do this first and then you can do hack the box or so. If it looks fun to you, I would just go ahead and try it. My understanding is also that the different boxes have different difficulties. So maybe you are lucky and the box you're doing right now is good for beginners, or maybe you have bad luck and it's a very hard box. So I would just say try it. And when you fail, that's totally fine. And afterwards, you look at the write-ups and try to understand how to do it better next time or how you can learn about it. So I would just not worry about what you need to learn first. I would just like try it and then Google a lot and research a lot and just try it and read the write-ups and yeah.
So the next question is, have you done any black hat or gray hat work, gray hat type of stuffs in your life?
Uh, I would say no, like not criminal. But obviously, when you don't have consent to test something, I for sure done that. But I always want to be ethical and moral about it. I definitely have crossed some lines in the past that I'm not very proud of.
Yeah.
But generally, I wouldn't say I have done any black hat work. And I would encourage everybody to not do shit because that will ruin uh, your future very quickly.
Okay. So the next question is regarding CTF. So it is a simply looking for a write-ups is the best way to learn about CTF.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, trying it yourself and reading write-ups.
Okay. So the next question is, what do you suggest someone wants to do a job as a pen tester?
That depends a little bit if the person already has computer science experience. For example, if a programmer is asking me this question, or if a complete beginner thinks, "Oh, this looks cool, I want to get into this," my answer would be a bit different. But I guess generally, I would say just look at it like any other job, which means look what are the requirements, what are typical skills that you would need as a pen tester, and then figure out how you can learn these skills. And also think about your resume. Like think about that this is a job and you need to apply for it. And so make sure you got good grades in school, maybe write a blog, try some activities, you know, on the side where just your resume looks great. But most importantly, figure out what pen testing as a job really is and what the job is like, what are the skills that are required, and try to learn more about that.
So the most asked questions, best programming language for hacking and pen testing, and helps in a bug bounties also.
Mhm. Um, Again, that depends a little bit on what you want to do. So for example, if you want to do a lot of code review and analyze like really the code and understand how web applications are written, you want to learn a lot of different languages and at least be able to read them. And I generally would encourage everybody to just play around with a lot of different languages because all of them can be important for hacking. It totally depends on your target and what you want to do. So always see it as just a tool. But personally, if I so I know a lot of languages just to read them, but if it's about like writing your own scripts and automate things and write yourself small tools, I generally use Python for that, and I think Python is a great language just to get started and play around with. But again, don't hesitate to learn more because
Yeah,
knowing more languages will make it easier to understand web applications.
yeah. So the next question is, how the CTF useful in a bug bounties?
So I think what CTFs can train you to do is like the creativity and also learn about very weird bugs and vulnerabilities that are maybe not that typical when you just look at tutorials for like bug bounty bugs or so. And I think so personally, I learned the most skills I learned from CTF. And I think that CTF teaches me a certain creativity and a deeper understanding of how the stuff works, that I feel a lot more confident to just like go out and try to find real stuff. But I have to say, I have never done bug bounty, but I
Oh,
think the professional work that I do as a pen tester is very similar to bug bounty. So I hope like, I, I can't really say like it will be super useful for bug bounty, but
yeah.
I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else. For me, it has always been CTF to learn, but I understand that if you don't like CTF, then don't play CTF and learn differently. For me, I liked CTF, and I think if you like CTF and you play them, it is a great resource to learn, and I think it definitely will help you
Okay.
if you have fun with it.
So the difference between pen testing and bug bounty. So would you recommend it bug bounty as a full time? You recommend it to someone who like just started a bug bounty 1 week ago, and like he thinks he's like a big industry like bug bounty, earn a lots of money, and like a has that bug bounty life. So would you recommend it to as a full time bug bounty hunter?
Oh, I mean, no. I think it's an extremely, I mean, okay, this is a very complicated question with a lot of details to it. If you have fun doing bug bounty and you are good at it and you know that you will find stuff, and if you have like money to like, when you don't earn something, that it's not a problem with money and stuff like this, like if you plan it properly and if you are very smart about it and very careful, yeah, sure, go for it. But this dream of becoming rich and being the bug bounty lifestyle and traveling around the world and driving cool cars and stuff like this, I think that's a fantasy that only a very few people achieve. It's similar to like Hollywood or Bollywood,
Bollywood.
those stars, only a handful of people will reach that, and most people will get very frustrated and said, trying
Yeah,
to
see.
achieve that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I am also doing the bug bounty, like as a like I am doing my masters right now, and in a
Ah,
part
cool.
time as I am doing a bug bounty. So like
Yeah, that's
in
perfect.
1 month, yeah, in 1 month, like I can earn a 1,000 or a $1,500. In next month, like gets like in this field also like competition is increasing. So not like every month you can earn the same types of dollars in every month. So that's why
Yeah,
I also suggest first looking for a job, settle for yourself. As a hobby, you can do a bug bounties. So that
absolutely.
I would be suggest. So the next question is, how much time do you spend in CTF weekly? Because I know you're playing a CTF very regularly, and you go to the Google CTFs, and that's why.
Yeah. Actually, the past year or so, I have played very little CTF. So at the beginning of Liveoverflow, I played a lot of CTF, almost like every week or every second week. These active CTFs, these on CTF time, the CTFs that only go like 3 days or so on a weekend. I played these like regularly, and then in the weeks in between, I would play things like Over the Wire, or exploit exercises and this kind of stuff. But in the past year, doing videos and working, and I also just finished my master's degree, I was just so busy. I almost barely have time to play CTF. So in a week, I play zero CTF, and maybe like every second month or so, I maybe play a CTF or so. But I want to get better at it again. I miss it, but it's hard to find the time.
Okay. Sir, any tips for new computer security students?
Hmm. So I would say stay curious and always try to understand more. And even when you think you understand something well, remind yourself that you don't understand anything and that there is more to discover. Uh, I think it's very important to keep that always in mind, that you don't become arrogant and that you don't think you are like, an expert or something like this. Because even if you think you understand something, when you come back to the same topic like a year later, you will realize, oh, I didn't
I
fully
didn't.
understand it. And I think that's, as a early computer science student, I would encourage you, if you think you understood something, you didn't. But it's also okay, you know, keep learning, keep staying curious, and keep digging deeper. Yeah.
So the next question is like, where do you learn from? Book, articles, video, etc. Best books for learn hacking.
I have never read a book, so I cannot recommend any book. Um, I can't like read, I get bored and it doesn't work for me. So my two big learning resources, how I basically learned, were playing CTF for like the actual practice and doing it myself. And the second thing I used to learn is reading other people's blog posts, CTF write-ups, bug bounty write-ups, and just like reading what other people were doing. Maybe watching some conference talk, recorded talk or so. But yeah, mainly playing CTF as a practice, practical practice, and reading other people's article that I see on Twitter or posted elsewhere.
So next question is best certification for jobs.
Um, no clue. Um, I have the OSCP, but I never like needed it. Nobody cares about my like
Certification.
in my job experience, nobody ever cared about certificates, but I see it like a school degree. Some companies might think it's important, others don't. And it totally depends on where you want to try to go. And this goes back to the advice with the what would you tell somebody want to get into penetration testing? Just do your research, look at typical resumes from people working in this field. You can easily find example resumes with Google from people and just see what they list. Look at job descriptions and see if they list certifications. And if that's the kind of job you want and they list this as a requirement, then that's the certificate you should go for. But other than that, you know, I don't really care about certificates.
So what is the basic things if someone wants to start like in a reverse engineering, malware analysis, and a binary exploitation? So what is the basic things someone wants to first know?
I would say just get comfortable with basic reversing. For example, use Ghidra, the disassembler, and just like maybe write yourself a few programs, compile them like in C or C++, and try to reverse engineer them. Try to compare how your source code looks to assembly, and just get comfortable reading assembly. CTF challenges and binary exploitation, you know, the goal is to do write an exploit, but they are often very small programs and they are great to practice reverse engineering. Just like load that CTF challenge into a disassembler and try to understand from the disassembler what it's doing. And generally, the aim of reversing and malware analysis is always understanding what the program does. And the program is in assembly, so it's hard to read, but always understand what the program does. And there are many different ways how you can do this, and you can be very creative trying to figure out what it does. You can do reversing, you can look at log files, you can try to like use function tracing, or like there are a lot of different strategies to figure out what a malware does, and just be creative, play around with that. And then other than that, obviously read write-ups, read blog posts of people that have done example malware reversing. Crack me's are a good thing to practice as well. A lot of practice, a lot of just trying around.
So sir, can you please give some motivation that someone gets a duplicates in bug bounties, like learning in stuff and all this? Give some motivation tips, like how you handle that situation.
Well, I don't do bug bounty, so I
Yeah,
never
I
get
know.
duplicates.
Apart from bug
Yeah,
bounties, like someone trying to learn about reverse engineering, but after like
yeah,
reviewing that code, like he got some headache. So what the tips
yeah.
to give someone?
Take a break. Um, so I would say the stuff is complicated. It requires always time to understand, but it's the most important resource to learn anything is time. So if you fail and not do something, you can't do something yet, it just means you haven't spent enough time. And it's very, very simple. Just spend more time and practicing it, fail over, fail over time. You will accumulate more and more, and eventually you will able to do this. This is true for anything you learn. If you want to become good at soccer, if you want to become good at dancing or skating, and it's the same thing for hacking or reverse engineering. It's all just about practice and accumulating time. So I wouldn't really stress about it. I wouldn't stress about what is a good resource, what's a good book, and like freaking out over trying to find the best resource. Because in my opinion, the most important resource you can spend is time, and over time you will just slowly build up knowledge and skill, and you will become good eventually. Like it will happen. It it will even it will always happen. Like if you just spend time, it will always happen. But don't think it can be done in a week or in a few months. It will take years. I started my YouTube channel in 2015, so it's almost like over 4 years long I'm doing this channel. And think about the knowledge I acquired in these 4 years alone. I know so much more than when I started LiveOverflow at the beginning. And it's just like because 4 years I've been like continuously doing this. So just spend time and understand that it might take years, but don't worry about it. Like it will just take time.
Okay. So how do you balance your work, study, and other activities?
Ooh, uh,
I know
I
it's a
don't
very
balance them
difficult
well.
question.
Yeah, I don't balance it well. Generally, when I'm motivated, I can spend like 20 hours just focusing on one thing. And then I have times where I just want to play games or watch YouTube videos. I have a very hard time with discipline, but that's the luxury of my job of working at home. I can just like, if I can't concentrate right now, I can just do something else and distract myself. And most importantly, I try not to feel bad about it. So if I'm not motivated, I accept it. It's okay. Like tomorrow is another day. Let's just relax and play a game. And tomorrow, let's try again.
So now some quick question like rapid fire. Your favorite browser, Chrome or Firefox?
Chrome,
Google or DuckDuckGo?
Google,
Bug bounty or CTF?
CTF.
Try hack me or hack the box?
None.
None? Okay.
I have not
Okay,
used
okay. Yeah,
both.
sure.
So
So web pen testing or mobile pen testing?
pen testing.
Okay. Your favorite games?
Apex Legends.
Okay. So you play PUBG? Do you play PUBG?
I did play it like 2 years ago or
Two
so,
years
like
ago.
when it was new. Yeah.
Okay. So best hacking and movies. Best hacking movies. Can you suggest some movies which based on hacking?
Yeah. I really like Hackers, the movie Hackers. It's cool. It's wild. Uh, I like Matrix.
Okay.
Matrix, I think, is cool hacking movie. Yeah.
Okay. And best hacking TV series?
I started watching Mr. Robot, but I really didn't like it.
You didn't.
Uh, but I recently watched on Netflix a German TV show called Selling Drugs Fast or something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Selling Drugs Online Fast.
Selling drugs online.
Yeah, it's a German series, but it actually is quite good. They really try to have it technically relatively accurate. And I actually really enjoyed that show. I recommend it.
So, sir, anything you want to say about India? Like you like the Indian hacking community?
Oh yeah, I've never been to India. This is like something I really want to go to. Like I would like to go to Nalcon
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah.
Uh, but I don't want to go as a speaker because I hate speaking, and it's too expensive to
Oh,
just like go there. Not as a speaker. I have to pay everything myself, so that's why I haven't yet. But I would like to visit someday.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think there's like a lot of talent from India. I know like several like really amazing hackers from India, and I think you have a very like uh, 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 motivated and very excited like community in India that like really tries like really hard, and I think that's very cool.
So I guess that's it for today. I would like to thank you, Mr. LiveOverflow, for joining this cyber talk and sharing the knowledge and experience with our audience. It will surely help us in the future, and it was an honor to host you, sir. Thank you for your precious time. First of all, congratulations for your 500K subscribers on YouTube.
Thank you.
Congratulations from my
Thanks.
audience, Instagram. So I think you're following me on Instagram also. If you like that content that I make on Instagram, like every day I post some to some contents. Yeah. In
Yeah.
YouTube I never do active. Someday, like I do a live stream on Sunday. That's all. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish you all the best. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.